aiming at just like mix down, read, whatever. I'm sure you can come up with something. Do you have to do it here? Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So hey, Jordan. Everybody, meet Jordan. He's our new teammate.
Hey.
He's a mixing engineer, and he's going to be working with us on these recordings, and I'm really excited to have him on board. It's very cool. No, sorry. Do you want to sit down, Sruthi?
No, I'm good. I'm just. I'm funny.
Doesn't matter. How many ways can you spell mixing? All right. Cool. So we'll just go into OBS now and maybe screen record. And then I guess you can. Exactly. Come on, baby. Here, I can get it. I promise you. It's like fishing. There you go. Caught one. Ah. Hello. Okay. See you, Nick. Thank you. Thanks for everything. All right. Yeah, nice session. It was great. Cool, man. Take it easy, buddy. So, Nick, Jordan, welcome. How did, so first of all, congratulations on your mix. It was great. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. It was really, it was definitely not what I sort of expected in a really great way. And it was also, it also sort of shed some light on also room for us to sort of grow, like I also sort of thought, wow, there's like a good communication potential with this too, because I don't know. I mean, it's like, it's a process.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'd like to just sort of ask you about how it went, and you can tell us a little bit about your process and what you did to get there with it.
Yeah. So, are we streaming right now?
We
by
are.
the way?
We should be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sruthi's gonna go check it on the front computer. So
So
do you hear me all right? First of all, am I clear?
yeah. I hear you just fine.
Okay. Great.
Can you hear me all good?
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. Yeah, like I guess the first thing that I did is I got your stems, and then I brought it into Pro Tools. Yeah, I have the Pro Tools session open right now. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the idea of bringing everything in and then just kind of like organizing it in a way that like makes sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I usually do that before I start mixing, just so then like I can spend a lot of time like organizing it and make it feel like comfortable. And then this way, when I come to mix, like I don't have to worry about like setting anything up or anything. I just kind of like turn it on and then go. I feel like I work best when I like it's just easy to do,
Mm-hmm.
like it's just accessible.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did first. I brought it in, color coded everything, and like renamed everything, and yeah, just got it like feeling good, you know, for me, and like everything made sense and everything. And then yeah, and then I guess the first thing that I started on was the drums. That's usually what I like to start on, getting the drums to sound like just good. Like when you like, it's relatively easy to do drums, but like it's always so satisfying, at least for me. Like I always like it's always like a satisfying thing when you get like a good drum sound, and then everything kind of fits a lot nicer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to put everything else on those drums. Excuse me for 1 second, my wife's calling. Hello? Hey. Yeah, I can't get it right now. I'm live right now. So yeah, you have to run down for a bit. So okay, I can't. I've got to go. Talk to you later. So yeah, continue. So for those of you watching and you're interested in what stems are, when we hit record on a track and it's a long sort of track, what we have to do, because Jordan's working on a different software, Pro Tools, is we stretch all of the tracks out and just make sure that they're blocks that are going right to the very beginning of the session, so that when he imports the music files, they're all the same length, so that the song makes sense in terms of how all the tracks work. That's very common to sort of export WAV files and then send them off that way. So, yeah. So, and then organizing a mix session, and then every engineer has a different process for sort of bringing the song to a finished stage. So yeah, it's cool. So you start with the drums, and what are you hoping to do with the drums when you go through that?
Yeah. Do you want me to? I usually just like to get it like just sounding very appropriate to the song.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like drums is an instrument that like when you get drums that like fit the song, like it like just makes everything like you know where the song is going, is what I'm trying to say. Like with drums, I feel like, and when you mix it, you kind of like enhance it, and everything kind of sits like where the groove fits nicely, and you kind of know if things are swinging or if things are straight. Like you get all like that kind of nuanced stuff with it, and that really comes out. I feel like that's what I like to bring out in the mixing part.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I'll kind of just go through each kind of layer that you guys added. Yeah, so the next thing I probably did is, once I got the drums sounding good, and even before I start like mixing, what I like to do is, because you guys recorded so many like great layers, like it was really awesome to have so much stuff to work with. And I feel like something so simple that like brings like a mix sounding so like it just does so much stuff to it, I feel like, is like just panning different things. Like I saw that right off the bat you guys doubled the rhythm guitars, which is really awesome. I love having that as like a nice bass. And when you double the guitars, you're able to increase the stereo depth.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I like to do first. And yeah, that really made it feel like very full, and I could hear where everything sat now. And yeah, even with the rhythm guitars, I could pan them left and right hard, but then you had the lead, and then you had kind of like these chords hits that I actually thought was keyboard. There were some sounds that I was like, oh, I thought it was like a Rhodes piano or something like that, but it was actually a guitar that I think you were just like plucking with your hands, which was kind of cool. So
I wonder if it would be worth sharing your screen. Can you do that? Because I could share my screen. Yeah, there we go. Cool. And then maybe full screen.
Oh, is it sharing?
Yeah, it's sharing. And I still see you, so it's really cool. So what you can do is maybe fully expand the Pro Tools session, so it fills up everything in the window. Just go up to the green. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Awesome. Very cool. It's got it perfectly.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, so this is kind of what I was talking about with like just organizing things. With Pro Tools, you're able to like a lot of like DAWs, like you can usually color code things, and I find that very helpful to just kind of like be able to have things close together, but also be able to like distinguish between different layers. I like to just do like all the drums one color, all the guitars another color, the bass another color, the vocals another color.
Yeah.
You know, just to kind of, I'm sure you do something similar
it's
as well.
It's fantastic. Aesthetically, it's fun to have colors and,
Yeah,
and part of the creative
exactly.
process. And it's also just nice when you're searching for something to know what the color is that you're looking for. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And yeah, where was I with the with the mix?
Did you? I have a question. Did you have a template
Yeah.
in mind? Like, did you have a song? Like, did you sort of find a song in the world that might sort of suit what we had sort of sent you, and try to go like, you know, like maybe go for something in particular with the mix, or were you just sort of creatively going for it?
I guess like I guess I was just kind of using the like kind of mixing process that I've been kind of just using recently.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my mixing kind of process and like what the plugins I use and kind of how I approach it has been kind of like it kind of goes through like stages, like depending on what I'm recording.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I didn't really have like a song in mind, although I'm sure like whatever I was listening to that day or that week kind of like came up a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a certain song that you were trying to copy like aesthetically?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly what we did. Like, I think, I mean, I think there was a little bit of what we were trying to do, a little bit actually. I would say that the goal or the hope was to, and this is where I think maybe we sort of didn't see eye to eye on you know, just where you wanted to go and where we wanted to go a little bit is when we were recording it. One of the goals last week was to try to, through playing, impart as much dynamic range as possible. Now, I didn't do like the greatest job in that, but I tried to play certain acoustic parts extremely sort of quiet and tenderly, and then have them sort of be bigger for the next part. And and I think that yeah, I mean, it's, you know, to an extent, we did 2 recordings of the song last week. We did on Thursday we did just an acoustic recording of the song, and then we did the stream. I would say that we did the acoustic in like literally one take, and I feel like in a way it was a bit more of a success on our end than the full arrangement. Not that the arrangement was bad or I'm not happy with it or anything. I just feel like the nature of a ballad beckons, you know, clear vocals and just like, you know, sort of simplistic accompaniment, and it's very easy to overdo things. But but I feel like we were sort of thinking about, like, I really like, you know, some of Bon Iver's stuff, you know, like For Emma Forever Ago. I really dig that album, and you know, just the arrangement of Skinny Love is so cool, and it's grimier than what we did. But I think that that's a really that's an incredible lesson in like dynamic range, how like tender the verses are, and how and just how passionate the chorus is, you know. When I told you to be faithful, I told you to be whatever, and then right back to you know, Skinny Love. That's just like the verses. It's just quite beautiful. So we were trying to be very gentle, and I just felt that maybe some of that got lost a little bit in translation. But of course, you know, like, I think that's going to be part of the fun of this process that we go through, is to find a way to communicate things. I mean, it's very and develop a like something that where we can, you know, do that. I think it's going to be so. I feel that maybe something that we could do is perhaps agree on a mix, like a template,
like a theme, or
just like a template, like if there's a song that's out there that we can sort of identify that has a similar arrangement, and maybe has a result that that we like that fits what we did. I feel like that would probably be a good place to start, because that'll probably give you some insight into what we see. And but you know, like all of this I want to handle very delicately, because I want to see what you bring to it too. Like I really feel like I don't want to get too micromanagey. You know, I don't feel that that's very cool. And in the process, I really like the creative process, and I like working with people and seeing what they have to do, and I want to make sure that that's always, you know, adhered to 100% for, you know, like it's just, I want you to feel really comfortable just mixing and from the heart, you know, because I love what you're doing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I totally agree though, having like maybe let's say like having like a similar target that we're both like trying to reach for, I feel like would be a good idea, especially like next time, like when I'm mixing the next song.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
maybe we can kind of discuss like what we're discussing now, like just what you guys were thinking about with the cover too. And yeah, and then I guess I'll kind of know, you know, we'll all be on the same page, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably a good system. And then we can also, when we debrief, like I think this is really cool what we're doing right now, by the way. I'm really happy we're doing it, and that I can see the session. This is like next level. I really do find this incredibly advanced. I think that this is an incredible process. Actually, just this in and of itself will really help us to grow together. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I love talking about like mixing and music and all like the kind of nerdy stuff. So yeah, I always I enjoy all of it.
Yeah, and it's a perfect opportunity for us to sort of go over your mix and understand how you got the results. And then I also feel that, you know, we can also share the screen of the session that we just did and talk a little bit about what we like and what we don't like, and maybe some nice notes for you too as you go on your next journey. So I really think this is cool. It's like we're handing off the relay baton kind of deal, and it's a good way to do it with good open communication and a Zoom call. And I hope that, you know, people that get to watch this and learn from it and grow from it, and it'll be really good. I should actually see if there's questions just on the hey Sruthi, are you there? Or is it are there any questions or anything on the stream? It'd be cool to keep, because this is really quite cool. We got to, like, Nick's got the whole mix up on the window, and we can look at exactly what he did. It's insanely cool. So yeah. So
would you be able to
sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, would you be able to share your screen and kind of go through like the layers that you guys recorded today?
Yeah, so maybe unshare your screen and then I'll share mine. I mean, you know, I think maybe that's the way to do it. No questions? Okay, cool. Good enough. Thank you. Yeah, so if you unshare your screen or stop that, and then I can share my screen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the.
If you go up to the top, I think that's probably where you do it. Click on it.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. All done. All right. So I'll go in here and I'll just go into our Luna session. So here's our session, and
cool.
I think it's gone. So I can talk a little bit about it.
You got a fast car, and I want a ticket to anywhere.
Again, you know, like it's what I feel is really, really nice about this is I mean, I want more time with it for sure, but I feel like it worked on a number of levels. We ended up getting rid of some of the electronic drums. I did a bunch of pre-production for the first time on the live stream, and I think it was much to our advantage just with the session. I don't know
Like you recorded some stuff before you started the stream?
Yeah, I did a bunch of stuff before we started the stream. It would have been impossible. So we ended up just getting rid of some of the drums because they were sort of clashing with the real drums. And I mean, one of the things I might recommend, if you were willing to sort of take some of my recommendations, is I might, have an ear for, I feel like I missed one of the choruses on the drum set, so it might be worth dropping the drums in on one of them, or just making sure that that's nice and solid. And I really tried to play the drums tenderly, like everything, when I started listening back to what I was doing, I was like sort of bashing through the cymbals and stuff. I didn't want that. I wanted, sort of the right sort of dynamic hit on the cymbals, and just I really wanted the drums to not be this sort of. Sometimes the tendency is to sort of try to, play what
hit as hard as you can.
Well, yeah, and try you've read all this stuff about how they get these tones, and you're sort of trying to do that. But it's very important to sort of have the right amount of harshness in the cymbal hit, and to do that. And there's a lot of limits to my drumming, but I felt pretty good about some of it, and I want the toms to sort of ring out and have a nice sort of vibe to them, and. But I feel like a bunch of really cool stuff happened. I mean, we tried to use we used an 80s synthesizer called the Roland Juno 2.
Nothing to prove.
Oh, nice.
You got a fast.
And some of my delayed guitar worked better than others, other parts, and I don't know. I just it was quite a process. I mean, it was quite a journey to do this song, and Shruti did a great job on the vocals, and having the right sort of volume on everything is probably the most important thing that I hope for in the mix, and just so that everything's sitting really nice, and then polishing it and sort of nudging just gently, sort of because we're really trying to record it in a way that it's to an extent almost mixed. Like we've processed a lot of stuff on the way in, but
yeah, I was gonna say, while I was mixing it, I knew even before I started mixing it, it was already everything had a nice volume to it, a nice gain. So really the only thing that I did with the compressors is just being able to play with the attack and the delay, but other than that, everything was already sounding really great.
That's great. Yeah. We try to, we always try to get just really nice levels going in. And there's a level of, because of the nature of how we're recording, it's almost like a cross between a live session and a recording session, right? So we're kind of, everything has its pros and cons, or pros and cons. But I'm just going to consolidate this. So, when Jordan was talking about stems, here are the stems for some guitar parts here. All right. And I can sort of, sorry, when they get soloed, I get cut out. So, so here it's just a DI'd acoustic guitar, and this was sort of done to a programmed drum part, and it ended up really being the backbone of the song. And then there's a nice little chorus here.
Driving in your car, speed so fast, felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us, and your arms felt nice wrapped around my shoulder.
Yeah, so I mean, this track right here, I can get rid of. Do you have any questions about this?
Um, what did you do with like how did you layer the electronic drums and the acoustic drums?
Well, that's a good question, and that was actually I was actually very concerned when we first started recording this, because I thought this is not going super well, because I sort of first started with the drums after we got a scratch vocal down, and I'm just gonna delete this track. I think I've got to go to track and then delete selected tracks. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my mic muted out. Sorry about that. So maybe I wonder if I should just open up a track here. Luna sort of has these weird idiosyncrasies where, like, sometimes my track magically gets muted in console. So I programmed a kick and snare part to go along with the acoustic early on in the process earlier today. And then I discovered while tracking the drums that it was very busy, and it didn't sound good with the kick drum, and the kick. My acoustic kick was out of phase with the kick drum on the electronic track. So I just left these tracks going, which are claps and maybe like a shaker on and off beat. So it was a very but these kind of worked. The claps kind of worked, and it sort of made a nice part. So we went with the idea of just sort of tracking the acoustic drums with just a couple of leftover electronic parts. That worked. So
Yeah, cool.
So that and it really, it really gave like the song sort of had this rhythmic framework that was pretty solid just from the process that I went through before we streamed, making it quite fun to play drums to. The parts were there, so anything that was going wrong with the drumming was definitely on my end as a drummer. It wasn't from sort of weird rhythmic idiosyncrasies that I had to memorize in the song or something. So that's kind of cool. And again, when I'm listening back, it was just like, oh, I just need to really remember to just not be harsh on the drums, like to really play the hi-hat tenderly so it's a real part and it's really nice, and just really get a feel for it. And it did take us some time to get the drums right. I did some synth work that was not very good or anything, but I just put it in and it just added to it. I did a shaker before, which was nice, and we kept for certain parts. And then Shruti redid the vocals at a certain point during the song. And then Nick at the end just put on a really nice keyboard sound. Like, I really like this sound. It was like just a really old keyboard pad sound.
Myself, I got nothing to prove. You got a fast car, and I got a plan to.
And there you can sort of. I feel like it kind of worked. I don't know. I'm kind of happy about the track. And
yeah, it sounds great.
It's simple, like obviously there's a lot more I'd really like to do, but I feel like one of the nice things is it's almost sometimes better to underdo it than to overdo it with parts, right? Because like I'd being a guitarist primarily, I'd really love to sort of pick away at the guitar for maybe a little longer and but I did like that take, and I remember liking it at the end, but I sort of felt much more strong towards the end. So if there is a little guitar echo that's sort of problematic or whatever, I would, suggest maybe, if like the song's so repetitive, I wouldn't like just copy and paste a part through the whole piece, but if you do hear something that's better, you could move it or something like that. Yeah. But I'm pretty psyched about it. Oh, okay, so here's something that we need to sort of figure out. So can I consolidate this electronic drum part to a... Will consolidating it make it audio? I think it will, won't it? Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I hear you.
Sorry. So if we go to the track, or if we go to File, or Edit, and I go to... Where do I consolidate things here? Oh, here it is, Consolidate. So let's try it. So I feel like it's still a MIDI file there. Now I know in Pro Tools there's a way to transfer it to audio instantly.
Oh, I see. You have all those as still like MIDI.
Yeah, because we sort of program this here. So
you might be able to just, I know on Pro Tools there's an option to just like transfer MIDI to audio file, something to that effect, and then yeah. This way, like you keep the like you're still able to like edit the MIDI.
yeah, I mean maybe it did that. I don't think it did though. So if I go here, yeah, it's still very much a MIDI track at this point. So otherwise, I guess there must be a way.
When you export it, I feel like it'll turn into an audio track. So
you think so?
Yeah, I think so. Because you'll probably be like exporting it as a wave, right?
Yeah. Okay. Because I know, what is it called in Pro Tools? When it changes the, I remember that update on Pro Tools 12 or something. It was so awesome. I was like, yes. Not going to run out of DSP on my plugins. Yes.
Oh, like you couldn't like change it to an audio file like in the earlier versions of Pro Tools?
Really, yeah, a long time ago it was harder to there was just like it was kind of a process which they didn't give to me. Yeah,
well, I guess like the like kind of workaround, I guess, is like you could just route it to like an audio track and then record it, but
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of going through this and consolidating here, and I mean I don't want to take an inordinate amount of time, and I wouldn't even know what would be a good track to use as a template, but I would say sort of gentle, like a gentle approach. I mean I like how sort of gentle this whole thing is, and when something, like I feel like certain styles and certain situations really call for like a pretty heavy compression, and then sometimes it just requires just to be just like you just use the just like hit it, and just like it gives it a bit of gain and just kind of beefs it up a bit, but it's not really noticeably getting like squashed too much, and it's like a taste thing too, right? So definitely go do exactly what you sort of hear and want. But are
you going for more like a dry sound, or
I don't even know what I would describe it. I'm really happy, I'm really happy with how it is in a way, so I guess like similar,
enhance it
like a similar sound, but also I also want to, it may be worth working really gently with it at first, and then saving a this really like adhering to what we give you, and then from there venture off or something. I feel like that would be kind of cool, because you did a lot with it. I noticed like how many vocal tracks did we give you on the other recording?
I think you gave me a doubled like main vocal, and then there was, I think, one track of harmonies.
Right. Okay. So
but I used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like some of the vocals maybe didn't need to be doubled. Like I just gave you them as an option, but I think that's where the communication thing is important. And then some of it maybe you were just moving things around to try to create a bigger sound, right? Like
I definitely was going for like a bigger sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think if I did mix it mix it again, like it would be interesting, like trying to like starting from the same, like with the same like ingredients, but like kind of arriving somewhere else. Like that's interesting that that you thought of it in a different way. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, like certain things, like I would, I don't know. I mean, I'm so apprehensive to give very many notes at this stage because we're just starting, you know, the process, and I really do want to see what you do. So I think,
But I definitely like go ahead with like any like notes. Like I gain a lot from like just knowing your perspective on it. So
yeah,
so
okay.
yeah, don't worry about
Yeah.
sharing it.
Well, I mean, there's certain, like, here's a situation, like the nylon string guitar had quite a bit of like you affected it quite a bit, which I think is cool, and I don't want to be like, don't like take a guitar to a certain place, right, with effects, because I am interested in that, but I also did really think that there's this sort of rich sort of sound from the nylon string, and it would be like, you know, so I was like, oh, I don't know, I felt like the nylon string had a pretty neat place in it, and it didn't need to go that far, but you know, I also want,
Yeah, fair enough.
you know, like and then I felt, you know, like some of the vocals didn't need to be doubled up for certain parts, right? Like but that's there's usually back and forth, I think, in a normal mix process, and quite a bit. So
yeah.
So I think having a really nice system to work together is going to be key, you know, to doing this well. And
yeah, maybe I could even send you like a rough mix or something like that first, and then get like your initial kind of impression of it.
yeah,
I feel like that would be.
I think that would be a really nice thing to do, and I think I mean, I think what really will work, and I think what will work for you in the long run too, for probably working with a lot of artists, is to really try to work with what's there to a large degree, and just, you know, just pamper it in, you know, and like work with volume, work with like gently EQ it and compress it, and just sort of work with what's already happened, and just, I don't know, like really like touch it up, you know, especially with this, like, I mean, I have a certain sort of sensibility musically and artistically where I really like, I'm really going for something, what I hope is authentic. I mean, that's a weird thing to say, you know, like, what's authentic? I mean, you can do anything. Everything's authentic, right? It's like, because it's like, you know, it's from the heart. But I feel like, you know, we're doing sort of gentler acoustic music, so it could just honing like volume and cleaning it up, and, you know, just yeah. I mean, I think too, what would be the most important step in the process would be to probably the first thing, even more so than sending me like, you know, stages of your mixing process, would be just picking a song that you would like to use as a template for where you want to take the mix a little bit, and just so, I think that's not to copy or something, but just to make sure that we're on the same page with the aesthetics of the tune.
Yeah.
Which, and I think that could be really valuable, because I think it's a good springboard for us working together, and, you know, you might pick.
It's something like concrete to both like strive towards.
Yeah, and I think it will. It's the first opportunity for me to go, oh, but I didn't really think of the song that way. That's a cool idea. What? And then, you know what I mean? I feel like that's probably the best way. Or if I really like, oh no, I don't think that's going to work, I might send you a track that in response that might, you know, have some of the qualities that I'm looking for, and you know, things like, you know, where you know, what's sort of driving it, and where is it sitting in the mix and stuff, and, you know, what instrument's carrying it. But I mean, this is sort of straightforward. You could look at Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time, and as a bit of a template for this. It's an 80s tune, and I tried to sort of keep this a little bit 80s, 80s vibes, and in its nature, and just it's pretty cool. Like, we're trying to like simply put parts in that really work and work together. So, like a real nice open sound, and like cool, like gentle, like just good right amount of reverb on the drums. And I did actually, one of my favorite things about your mix was the drums. I really thought that there's elements that the toms, like, you really brought something out of the drum part that I hadn't heard in it, and I did like it. Other aspects of it were I thought maybe taken too far, but I really did find that there was something coming out of the drum tone that you got, and the mix on it that was quite intriguing to me with the drum set, because I was
Cool.
I was pretty excited about it actually when I heard it, just because I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, there's something that you're doing that I don't do, and I liked it, so that was a really nice building point.
Yeah, it's a lot of like saturation and distortion. I feel like I use that a lot. Yeah, I tried to really definitely tried to change the tone, like, especially with the snare. I'm usually used to like a more of a drier sound. Like, I usually don't have a lot of ring in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of trying to like mix like the tone of what I usually record and like the tone that you did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I think I liked how it ended up as well.
Yeah. I mean, one of the sort of casualties of our process here is there's not time to, on our end, fix if something's sort of messing with it, like go and retrack it or whatever. We don't get to do that. But also it's also, like a really positive thing too, that we don't get to, and we don't get to overthink it and record it. And I think that, so we're off to the right track, like, I think it's going to be really cool to see where all of this goes. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah. So how did the process of making the tutorial of the mix go? Is that cumbersome? Is that almost too much, or how did that go?
It's coming along. Although I'm just like, I've used like the QuickTime like screen recorder before,
Yeah.
and that's what I thought was going to be like. I was just gonna like press a button, and then like, it does it, and I'm all good. But like, yeah, it didn't work like that at all.
No way.
So yeah, I downloaded OBS, and I've been trying to figure that out.
That's a bit of a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you have like the mic set up with it. Are you recording into OBS right now?
I'm not recording into OBS, but I'm excuse me, I'm monitoring through my Apollo through a good preamp.
Mm-hmm.
and in Zoom, so but we're exporting this call through Restream, and OBS is powering that. I think it's first in OBS going out, I think, right? And then yeah, so it's been a pretty big learning curve for me. All of this, it's been mind-blowing, just the extent of it, and just learning how to stream. It's been really cool.
Yeah, it's a difficult program. I didn't expect it to be quite a learning curve. Maybe I'm just bad at it, but
well, it's deep. I mean, OBS is deep, and yeah, there's
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason for you to master that instantly. I mean, it is what it says it is. It's an open broadcasting system. That's what OBS stands for, and it's basically like it turns your computer into a TV network. I mean, it's very advanced, and it's one of the most fantastic free softwares I think floating around the internet right now. Personally speaking, I've been very impressed with what they've put out. Like it's very special, and it really is empowering to work within it. It's very cool. A great tool of communication, and I feel very excited about where things are going, just in terms of empowering people that are just ordinary people like us with a little studio, and to share what we're working on and communicate with the outside world in a really clear format. It used to just be something that TV networks could do, and all of us just had to sort of adhere to what they said is the way things are. But this makes things a little bit different, doesn't it? So it could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say like even just music in general is like that now. Like it's so much easier for like individuals or like small groups of people to like make whole like albums and record labels without being part of like a big corporate like label,
Mm-hmm.
which is really, like you said, very, very, and like it produces like new stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's not really any like there's not a lot of rules, I guess, or people that you need to please like along the process, which is cool.
Yeah.
So like you said, like having like a genuine voice come out of it, I feel like that's what excites me about it.
Yeah.
About things being like more independent.
Exactly. And with some authenticity, and just there's an interesting, I mean, we don't want to get too like debatey, but there's this friend of mine was telling me about this new format for releasing music, which is sort of like a crypto. I think it's encoded, so I think you can release music and it could be exclusively like samples or like melodies to different individuals. Like you could purchase it, and then that would be yours, and you would buy it outright and work with it. There's just there's a whole new thing coming in terms. It's like I think it might sidestep a lot of the legal issues that would normally come up with music, where it'd be very difficult to track a song and see if it's been used, or track a melody. But now I think people will retain the rights moving forward. It's new. It's like a kind of a blockchain thing that's going to be associated with distributing music. So we'll have to watch that. It's something that's up and coming right now, which is kind of cool. I'm not talking about it very educatedly right now or in detail. It's something that I'm just starting to find out about. But yeah,
that sounds cool though.
Yeah. So why don't we do you have any questions? I would take a look at Time After Time and
is there any other songs that you would suggest?
I don't know.
Or
I mean,
anything else that was like floating around your mind? Like,
well, I quite like The Cure. Anything that's sort of like for 80s stuff, and I really think it's cool. But I mean, I really feel that like it's I think we tried to put the parts in quite cleanly, and I think that's pretty sort of there, like the sound that we're going for. I mean, the drums are maybe wanting a little bit, but I would say probably go for what's in it for the first part, and definitely sort of just look to baby it a little bit, handle it with like really work with volume, editing little, like if there's something musically clashing a little bit, maybe take that out like slightly, but actually I would just leave that right out of it. Like leave the music, what we give you, and I wouldn't change the music too much, but I would aim to use EQ and compression and space with time based, just try to create like a real rootsy vibe with it. Obviously, like adhering to some of the cool synthesizer stuff and that's in there. And then once that's sort of achieved, save that mix, you know, and then from there venture off a little bit and see where it goes, because I feel like, personally speaking, I really want to hear what happened, you know, like it's like a weird thing that happens here, and I want to hear that just really mixed, and just like I really want to hear what we did, like but it's like a selfish sort of thing, right? Like where we sort of had this kind of, it's a weird experience what we're doing, like to sort of like stream and record it, and it's quite cool, and obviously there's like a lot of growing to do and like process that will help us get better at it, but and it's not meant to be perfect, because it can't be, you know, like it's not a perfect art form, and it's not a perfect process that we're doing. It's quite rushed in a way to try to record a song in a day, but it is really interesting to just hear what, like, that as nice as just as like cleanly and like sort of sparkling, and without like like going too crazy, you know, without too much,
I totally get,
you know, saturation. But I'm also very curious about, from there, you taking it somewhere too, right? And creatively getting involved, joining us on the creative side, and taking it to where you want it to go, you know, and maybe meeting in the middle somewhere, because. And I think that's probably a note that you would hear quite often, you know. And from what I've read, some of the best mix engineers in the world they are trying to take it somewhere, but it's not. It's very much within the realm of what was done too, right? Like they're trying to take it where it was going initially, you know.
I like that. Yeah,
you know, and this type of music, I'm the kind of guy that really, you know, I really like we're lucky to have Shruti and great vocals, and you know, we're looking to just have the vocals sit, which I really think you did a great job on the other track. But some of the double up vocals might have been, you know, a bit conflicting a little bit, and it just needed one part kind of thing with the harmonies. But I mean, I've just given you one vocal part. There's 0 harmonies on this one, so you can just go for it and see where it goes. But is that
cool?
Is that is that helpful, or?
Yeah, no, all of this is like totally helpful. Like just anything that lets me know like aesthetically like what you were thinking about, you know, like just you know, like anything that's like floating around in your brain while you're doing something, I feel like is what comes through, you know. So like knowing that is kind of like knowing the kind of like origin of that is like you said, is like a good way of knowing like where it's going, you know.
I mean, like a eureka moment for me sort of throughout this process and just doing this is like try to imagine, like when I'm sort of drumming, and I'm not trying to say that I'm like super great at it or anything, but I'm really like very in touch with just how hard the stick is just hitting the hi-hat, and I'm trying to tell a little story, you know. I'm trying to make it very, you know, sometimes when you whisper something to someone, it's like that's when they really hear it kind of deal, and I find with drums sometimes it is like a tendency to hit them, you know, but and for certain styles, it's essential that the cymbals are destroyed, like in Back in Black or like a White Stripes tune or something, where it's just like getting right through it is really key or whatever, and getting that bigger sound. But for a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, I'm trying to get the fullest beautiful tone out of the drums, and I'm really trying to get the acoustic side of the instruments to really resonate. I'm really a big acoustic nut, you know, and when I, you know, record an electric guitar part, you know, when I was sort of playing this delayed part, and the delay was a bit harsh on louder notes, and I really rolled back the tone, and I really wanted that, you know. So a lot of what you're getting, I've really tried to put it, like I've really tried to make it finished for you to, you know, work with that. Not to say don't run with it, but I really have put a lot of, you know, even if it doesn't come out that way, there's been a lot of, you know, care. I'm trying to put care into every note. And
no, that's awesome. Like, it's good to know. Like that's awesome.
And you know, I don't know. have fun with it and feel very free to do your thing. I feel like that's the best thing. This is a learning process for all of us, and probably something that's really valuable. Like I think if all goes well over this 8 weeks or whatever that you're going to be doing this project with me and the gang here, we should all grow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm excited to since we're doing so many like songs, like it's cool to see how it'll change,
Yeah, we'll have a nice little album of covers, and I'll do some original tunes as well. And if you hear if something strikes you, like if you think of a cover that we should try or something, feel free to suggest. And I really hope that this is that you feel very free to speak your mind and to really be a part of this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. That's what you want to hear. That's awesome.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. Thanks for your time, and thanks for streaming with me and embarking on this this cool journey we're on. I love it, man. It's it's really nice to it's really a boyhood dream. I've got this whole music school and sort of studio that I built, and I think at the heart of that is this deep love of music that hit me throughout my entire life, and it's really fun to sort of have an opportunity and a purpose to do this. And I hope it's a fantastic and instructional tool for other people out there. Some will be obviously in a different place and will be more experienced than what this is, and some people will probably really like it. And I think that's what's cool about living in the world,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I dig it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
man.
sweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll send you these files and we'll just go from there, Jordan. And welcome aboard, and keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cool.
All
awesome.
Right.
Talk to you soon.
Send me a song if you can think of a tune, and as a template as you go on the mix.
Yeah, I'll listen to those 2 suggestions that you gave me, and I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Right on. Okay, man. Yeah. Take care.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. All right. All the best. Leave your comments and